Hello and welcome to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
And we have yet again another amazing guest on our in person today. Woo-woo. We have Alexa Rundquist, who is the Executive Director for District 5950. She's also a part of the Minnetonka Rotary Club. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're very happy to have you. Really, in this first segment of the show, we love to get to know our guests. And so,
but before we do that, Joe.
I'm just hanging on here like, wait a second.
Can Joe remind us of our purpose for the show?
The purpose for Searching for Service is to really give opportunity and tell stories of amazing service projects that will not only empower people that are listening to serve, but also to join Rotary. We have a lot of amazing Rotarians. Not everybody's a Rotarian, but mostly Rotarians, and how Rotary is the vehicle for service.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now back to our regular programming. So our guest, as a reminder, is Alexa Rundquist. Alexa, again, thank you for being on our show today. And let's get to know you a little bit better. So first and foremost, where are you from?
Yeah, well, actually, I am from North Dakota originally. So a small town on the Montana border, which is like a huge part of who I am, but also like a huge part of my Rotary story. And so I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go through. And it's never forgotten on me. It's my children's favorite place to go, and I love a big skyscraper, but I love a big field too.
Okay,
so, yeah,
and everything else in between.
That's
too.
right. Yeah.
Cool. And is that Rotary story a part of that transition from your hometown to the Twin Cities?
Yeah. So I grew up in North Dakota, and I moved to Minnesota with my husband, who is a CPA, and he wanted to work in one of those big, 4 firms downtown.
Sure.
And so brought us to the big city. And he is also a Rotarian. He serves as an assistant governor. We have 4 great kids. I have a 2-year-old named Nora. I have a 5-year-old named Audrey. I have a 7-year-old named Bennett. And my 10-year-old Nolan came with me today because he's a Rotarian at heart. And he just wanted to see what it was like to produce a podcast. So
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you've got a busy household.
Yes, very busy.
Darn near close to a basketball team.
That's kiddos. What everyone says.
I love it.
Yeah. So, I went to college in North Dakota and then wasn't one of those lucky people that got a job right out of college. So I went back home to live with my dad. It was just my dad. Okay. Before college, my mom had passed away. So there were several years where my parents were traveling back and forth to Mayo. And so it was like reflecting back now as an adult. It was a really fun time to get to know my dad. Mm-hmm. Really understood the value of parents at that point. Yeah.
Sure.
So moved back with him and then got a job at the North Dakota Department of Health where I met a Rotarian by the name of Doug Murphy. And he was traveling all over doing these huge service projects. And I said, take me with you. I want to do this. I don't want to be a Rotarian. I just want to go do these projects because I didn't know what a Rotarian was. And he said, sure. So I said, hey, Dad, I have no money. Do you want to come with? And just getting to know him, I knew this was something that he also wanted to do. And so we went down to Guatemala together with Rotarians from all over North Dakota, some from Minnesota also. And we got to build a school.
Cool.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah. And so, everything was new for me there. Never been out of the country, except for to Canada. But
yeah, that doesn't count.
Yeah, no.
Especially when you're that close to the border.
Exactly, right? I'm just crossing the border anyways. So we went down there and we truly, worked shoulder to shoulder with these people and built a school. When we originally got down there, the community was able to get paid for the work. And we knew that was really important. So we just got to play soccer with the kids. And, it was really hot. So my hair was in French braids. And the girls would come and they would point to my hair. And our guide, Juan Carlos, said, they want you to braid their hair. And I said, okay, that's fine. But I said, Juan Carlos, why are all of their hair is wet? And he said, they washed it for you.
Aww.
And so we braid their hair. And then we truly worked shoulder to shoulder. So we had to mix all the cement by hand. We bent all the rebar by hand. And
wow, that's hard.
Yeah,
Were you just up there like,
it's literally a 2x4 with nails in it, and you line it up.
oh
and
my
you
gosh.
bend.
Yeah.
And you line it up.
It's not
and
that far
bend.
from what I just described.
I worked in a rebar factory once. That's really hard.
Yeah.
Oh my
Ooh,
gosh.
that sounds like a good story for another day, too.
Yes, no kidding.
So you mix all this cement by hand, and then they would fill these 5-gallon buckets and carry it across the yard and fill the cinder block walls.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, Doug and I, in the Department of Health, if you're familiar with North Dakota at all, floods all the time. So one of the jobs that we did was we worked with sandbaggers. And so we were able to teach them this technique of creating a line, a zigzag line, where you can pass weight very quickly and don't feel the impact. So we taught them that, and that was like truly shoulder to shoulder, and we built this school.
Wow.
Cool.
And then at the end, we passed out school supplies, and a lady said, "Hey, this is what service above self is." And I went, "Whoa, what's that?"
Yeah.
And those were the words, and they just stuck with me.
Wow.
How long were you down there?
8 days.
8 days. Wow.
Yeah, we got to go hang out in Honduras afterwards for a while and take in the sights.
8 days and you impacted that much. You
Yeah.
know, that's pretty incredible. It's such a short period of time to have such an incredible impact for a community as
Okay.
well.
And that was
So,
your
in
first
multiple
real, introduction to Rotary at that point, right? Was the service project.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it's so fascinating. Like, we like to kind of draw a lot of similarities amongst guests and stuff, and we really see 3-4 different buckets of how people are introduced to Rotary. Youth exchange is a big one. International service projects are a big one. Professional, something about
Legacy.
that. And legacy.
Yeah.
Those really seem to be the real big buckets of how people join Rotary. So if you're out there listening and you've never joined Rotary or been part of a club, maybe one of these things really speaks to you, if you're inspired by the story, because it's always so cool. Like, the first thing that you did with Rotary was an international
Yeah.
project.
Were you a member when
no,
you went?
but not a
Absolutely
member.
not.
Yeah,
You were
not
just
a member at
volunteering
that
when you
point.
went.
Yeah, it was a way to do mission without a faith connection,
Yeah.
which at that point in my life wasn't something that I was wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
And then you joined when you got back?
Well, okay.
Yeah,
so,
I know. I'm like, so now
I
we
think
need
there's
to
more to
talk
this
about
story.
the genesis here.
So yeah, it's kind of twofold. So I remember driving up 169 with my husband, pregnant with my son that's here, and I said, I know you probably had this moment, both of you, all of you. You're a parent, right, too?
No, I'm
Oh,
not.
okay. Had this moment like, oh my gosh, I'm responsible for this child inside
Yes.
me. And so I turned to Nate and I said, what are we going to teach him? What do we want him to be? And so we had this long conversation about the values we wanted and the things, and I said, oh, great. Now, what are we going to do? Like, make a poster and hang it in our house?
Yes.
Like, okay, we didn't know what it was. So, like, he heard all of this, but, like, what are we going to do? And we were Minnetonka Rotarians at that point. But I think that really solidified our buy-in of, like, we are not just going to have these values. We're going to show these values to our kid.
I like it.
It's cool. We talk a lot about in our household of modeling the behaviors that
Yes.
you see, that you wish to see in your kids or people around you, and I think that sounds like that's exactly the thought process you guys went through.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I became. But if I really think of, like, I've been a Rotarian for 10 years, which means I've gone to over 500 Rotary meetings of
That's pretty-
my choice. Like,
Yeah.
getting up and going is my choice. And Kelly, you said it. I have a super busy household. I am the cub master to 3 of my kids' scout pack.
Okay.
I am a faith formation teacher at our church.
Okay.
So those great communities. I love those communities. I have a basketball community. Now I have a football community. I have a soccer community. Sometimes I have a golf community. I have my neighborhood community. And my school community. Like, these are such incredible communities. But they're all because somebody else made that choice.
Yeah.
And Rotary is my choice. These are
I like that.
my people. And I could name 100 times But there's a time that sticks out in my head that when I am wavering or having a bad day, why I go back to Rotary. Mm-hmm. So we were expecting our 4th child.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I could not carry Charlie to term. And so we had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
That day when I was in the hospital, I was supposed to invocate for the club. And I was like, oh, man, what am I going to do? So I quickly sent a message to a guy we affectionately refer to as Reverend and said, can you cover for me? No problem. No big deal. What I came to find out is he didn't cover for me. He didn't invocate. The club just stopped and prayed. Stopped the whole meeting, prayed for us, and then flooded us with the most beautiful messages, thoughts, uplifting things that, I mean, in your moment where you could not be more heartbroken, it just made you feel so loved. And then Miss Nancy came over, because I still had 3 kids that needed to be taken care of. She came over with the biggest pot of spaghetti and meatballs ever. My kids still said, well, that's way better than you make, Mom. And she walked into the messiest house I'm sure she's ever seen in her entire life. And she just put it on the stove, and she walked downstairs, and she poured another bucket of Legos out. And she said, come on, boys, we're gonna play while your mom sits and takes a break. And I don't know. Rotary was there. They get who I am, and I just want to make everyone feel like those people made me feel in that moment.
That's incredible.
God, we talked about this off air. Of course, we're going to end a segment right in the middle of a story.
Seriously.
So, Kelly, take us away.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. We will be back in the next segment. I'm Kelly Kirk.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving.
And the song you're hearing right now was performed by the Rotary Club of Saskatoon, Natuna in Canada.
When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms, and
We love 5-star reviews. You can like, you can share. And how do you find us?
You can search us by looking up Searching for Service.
good job. I love it.
And you can now get us on YouTube
Yes.
at District 5950's YouTube page or Searching for Service.
Beautiful.
Awesome.
Awesome. As a reminder, we have a very special guest. It's Alexa Rundquist. So if you're tuning in for the first time, that is who we have on.
And you need to just stop it, go back, and start it over if you're just
and listen to the first segment.
if you're
And
listening to it on the radio. Wait for
we-
the podcast to come out.
We ended that segment with an incredible story of just the truth that lies within Rotary and how people put other people above themselves. And your club did that very thing for you in one of probably arguably one of the hardest times of your life.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
So, thank you for sharing that story. That is, that in itself, sharing stories is the most impactful thing for this podcast and for people to be able to hear that too. So,
Yeah.
Well, I think it also highlights one of the things that maybe gets underplayed about Rotary sometimes, and it's the community and the support community. Like, we talk about doing things all the time, but sometimes things happen to Rotarians, and it's amazing on how they do things for each other and support each other. Like, I think about when Maddie came and we had a 2-week-long meal train, and that little bit was just incredible. And I mean, obviously, you shared your story, which was just inspiringly wonderful in terms of how the community wrapped its arms around you.
And how quickly they do it. That's what
Yeah.
I realized,
Yes.
in that situation you told me, and when you guys had your child, it was like immediate.
Yeah.
As soon as you get your word, everybody does and communicates and gets together and does everything they can.
yeah.
So, for those out there listening that, want an organization that not only serves and helps others, but can be a support pillar for you as well.
Yeah.
I mean, look no further than Rotary. It's a pretty easy, amazing community.
Yeah, I agree. So, Alexa, I think it'd be wonderful to share with our listeners a little bit more about the role that you serve for 5950, which is the executive director role. So let's dive into what does that role mean for our listeners. And let's just start there.
Okay, so as the executive director, I'm the one paid position in District 5950. So we have, 2,500 Rotarians, 68 clubs, always growing. And so I'm the one kind of glue that's there all the time. So our district governors, they rotate through, our volunteer positions rotate through, and this position has always been the one that's here all the
How
time.
long have you been in that role?
So I have been in the role about 3 years.
Okay.
And then the person previous to me, she kind of did some transitions. We had what was referred to as a district secretary, and they wanted to really shift that and put it in more of a leadership role. And so she just had a temporary position of about 5 years. And then the person before that held it for over 25 years.
It's such an interesting position because it's kind of, you said the glue that kind of holds everything together, but it's also the consistency as leadership changes.
Yeah.
So can you kind of share maybe some of the advantages or disadvantages or difficulties of that transition every year?
Sure. So you, just like every Rotarian, says, ooh, tell me your favorite thing and your worst favorite thing about every district governor, which I would never do.
You're like, I don't give my secrets away that easily.
Everybody brings every district governor. So I really serve a board of directors a district governor line. So those who are coming up to be district governor know kind of for 4 years. And so they dive right in from the very beginning. And then, as a whole, we serve 2,500 Rotarians and all the future Rotarians out there. And that's where our focus always is. I think like some interesting points of view are everybody comes with a different leadership style.
Yeah.
Everyone has a different expectation of where I can support them. And my job is to really hold consistent and look us back to our Rotarians. A long time ago, Tim Murphy, who I know you guys are familiar with, when he would go out and give his district governor speech, he would show how he flipped the org chart. And he would put the Rotarians at the top. And that has always stuck with me. And selfishly, I will tell you that every district governor that comes through, I pull something from them. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that with me professionally and in my life. And then there's something I pull for them that says, I'm not going to do that professionally and in my life. But I think all Rotarians can do that. They can give and take from them. So I think like the really unique thing that I do is I have like a bird's eye perspective. And sometimes that's hard because I can't really get in depth to know Kaketo Dassel like I would like to. Yeah. Unless an opportunity proposes itself, but then that comes really time consuming as it goes on.
You got to stay focused on the day job, if you will.
Yes. And my job is really to let the clubs flourish, and each club has its own flavor, and I'm not here to tell them how to do it. I'm here to just show them what's available to make it a success for them. And so one of the things I love to do, and I've been given the opportunity to do more of, is train people.
Sure.
Oh,
So
replicate yourself.
Replicate the amazing things that are already out there and that I hear and I see. So Chad says, I want to do this. And I say, I'm going to connect you with this person and this person and this person, whether it even be in our own district or District 5950 is really good to reaching out to other people. And with 5960, I mean, you guys have showed that we're just sisters. We're right next to each other. Yeah. So I train my favorite people in the whole world to train our president-elects. There is nothing like a more nervous yet eager group of people. They're so scared they're going to mess everything up.
Yeah.
And they have such a deep love for their club and their community within their club. They don't want to mess it up, but they all have an idea they want to try. Yeah. And so it's like empowering them to do that. And I usually teach computer stuff, which is boring and lame, but everybody needs to know it. But I always try to sneak in like little things that would be a little more helpful that I've learned along the way. So I was teaching a class at the President-elect seminar. So that used to always be in person. Looks like we're bringing that back. So that's where you bring all the President-elects from 5 districts together, and you just teach them drinking from the fire hose, like you would not believe, for 3 days. And I was teaching a class, and I had my daughter, Audrey, with me. She was 6 months old. And I knew that I had to teach for about half an hour. So I did all the things that you do, right? You feed them. You make sure they have lots of tummy time beforehand. Change the diapers. I just please be quiet for 30 minutes. The district has been so graceful and embracing me as a mom and letting me bring my kids along places. I mean, you let my kid come here to my podcast today. So, but in
we
that
thought he was your bodyguard, but
that's not football. It's really football.
He's out there listening and it's bodyguard.
That's right. I can kick some butt.
Yeah.
I can kick some butt.
The importance of alignment. We've been trying to tell him that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I got to teach. So I did all these things for Audrey, and then I put her in her stroller. And wouldn't you know, 3 minutes into my talk, wah!
Yeah.
Wah! Oh. And then you can't focus, right, Kelly? Because all you can hear is this voice. And you're like,
don't I know?
Oh. Yep. And, so much is going on with body, and everything I'm supposed to teach goes out the window. And I'm like, what am I going to do? First of all of my bosses are sitting in the audience.
Yeah.
And all these other districts are like, who let this lady in? And I'm just like, focus on what you're doing. Focus on what you're doing. And I look up, and up stands a man and walks over to that stroller. And he looked at me, kind of get the okay, and he picked up Audrey, and he just rocked her and walked her back and forth. and I just took a deep breath and finished training. And nothing I trained on was as important as at the end I said to those guys, we've talked about membership today. We've talked about DEI. We've talked about all these things. But if you make every one of your members feel like I feel right at this very moment, if you embrace them like you embrace me right where I am today as a mom of a 6-month-old, you'll never, ever have a membership problem. You will never have a retention problem. And so I just try to always, as the executive director, look for those moments I can weave in to my training.
That was so good, Alexa. Like that, you literally took a situation unfolding right there and then, and folded it into the training for president-elects, and go, if you just put people above yourself.
Yeah, service above self.
Yep.
And just take
incredible.
back. And it's just
absolutely incredible.
Well, I think they're both examples, too, of how you never asked for it. It just happened.
exactly.
Right? And it's just the example of exactly what we're trying to model and what you're trying to teach and model. And so that's got to be really inspiring when you see a group of people that react like that as you're teaching them. Sometimes I'm sure that any of us when we're educating or teaching people, and you can just tell it's not landing, right? It's like, oh, okay, all right. But when that's got to be so inspiring for you to keep going, keep learning, keep getting better, keep serving, keep doing the things when you see it works and people that believe in it, So, and you're turning a perceptive disadvantage, right? Like you brought up who's this woman with the kid? Right. It's a perceptive disadvantage that ultimately turned into an advantage for you.
Sure.
And it sounds like it continues to serve you as an advantage.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up this segment, and I think we keep rolling off of what we were just talking about. So as a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
And we'll be back.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned when we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving.
And the song you're hearing right now was performed by the Rotary Club of Saskatoon, Natuna in Canada.
When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
If you're tuning in for the first time, we have special guest Alexa Rundquist, who is the executive director for District 5950. And as a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and
YouTube.
All right.
like, comment, subscribe.
And search for us by looking up Searching for Service.
We're getting it down. I love it. So,
yeah, we're only 40 shows in.
Alexa, we wrapped up this last segment talking about your role as the executive director and how vital it really is. And so you've shared a couple stories, but so as the executive director, you are supporting a lot of people, but you do support pretty heavily the district governor, correct?
Yes. So that would be the main person I support.
Okay.
And I do that, in a variety of ways. They come to us with a bunch of different they get a lot of direction from Rotary International that comes down, and because they're supporting the president. So then they take that and look at it and kind of twist it. So they come to us with some ideas and some projects that they want to take on, and I help them figure that out. And I tell them, no, you can't do that because it's not in your budget. That's my big thing.
So in that vein too, you're really accounting for the budgets that are in place for the district governors. But then I'm sure that at some point you're reviewing what the budgets are for each of the Rotaries themselves, correct?
No, I don't. No, really, my role with the clubs is to be a resource, to be a connector, to be a tool finder. Each club is so unique. So often, especially President-elects are like, don't you just have something that tells me what to do? And then I said, no, but I can help walk you through a process to figure out what your club does, because what Minnetonka does and what Edina does are very different, because we're very different people,
Yeah.
We're the club that's more plaid than you want it to be, which, Joe, you could join us in that. But that comes from a whole history of presidents wearing plaid and embracing that. And we never want to take those cultures away from the clubs. And so connecting those resources, again, that's my main job, is
being
connecting.
a rudder.
Yeah.
Listening. I find what's really interesting about your role, too, is kind of how you take some of the Rotary International initiatives, projects and things like that, and kind of distill it down into, it's almost like you're like an electrical, you're transforming it down and stepping it down so that the clubs can tolerate it, right? Because if they just take in the full high voltage, you're going to be
I like to call that
whoa.
layman's terms, like you're bringing it to that level in a layman's terms.
Well, and just where they're at, too.
Yep.
Exactly. And I remember I was sitting at my own pets training, and I'm sitting next to, President-elect training, and I'm sitting next to this man, well-dressed man, and I said, oh, you came from Florida. Why would you come all the way up here to Iowa? And he goes, well, I'm your keynote speaker. And he was from Rotary International, and boy, did I feel silly at that moment. But he gave an incredible speech about, the gears of Rotary, they have to lock, right, at the right, in order to work. And that's how you have to just meet each person individually, and each person has different gears that they need to meet, and each club does too. So a district governor might have this great idea of, I don't know, every club hold a carnival. Well, okay, what does that look like? And it's my job to let the district governor be as excited as they want, but take it to the layman's terms and help the club figure it out.
Sure. Okay, so you've been through the president-elect training, which means that you served as president.
I did.
Okay, and it was for Minnetonka?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool. When was that?
Oh my gosh. 7 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So I remember when I got that phone call, I was pregnant. Nobody else knew except for Nate. And I said, what are they going to think of this girl? Because at the time I thought I was just a girl standing in front of them, pregnant. And so the guy called me 4 times and said, you got to make a decision here whether you're going to accept this position or not. Little did I understand that I wasn't actually taking the job for 4 years. Like I was just entering the chain.
The process.
Yeah, new Rotarians, right? They grab us when we're in the beginning. And so I actually stood before the club holding my second child.
Oh, funny.
And so one of my favorite pictures that's posted up on my fridge is me holding Bennett, him holding Joey, which is the dog that goes everywhere with us, in front of my club and just taking him with me along the ride. And so, again, that moment where I wasn't a girl, I was a member of that club leading that club. And so that was super exciting. Yeah.
It is. So you've played a couple different roles in addition to executive director, and so we do always love to ask our guests, if they're Rotarians, what their favorite service project was.
So I'm unique in this area. I really, if I play back to the couple stories that I've told you, right, those are really small moments of service. And when I talk about choosing Rotary as my community, it's truly because I just have 100 small moments. And I've done some big projects. Nolan and I have jumped in a lake for the polar plunge. I've done it 6 times. He's done it 3.
I just got a chill even thinking about it.
So you won't
Maybe it's the draft. I don't know.
Maybe you won't be joining us.
Are you aware of the definition of insanity?
Yes, doing the same thing over and over.
Alexa, I joined. I've done it twice, so I'm with you, but I will probably never do it again.
Yeah. So, doing that with him, and I remember, right, it's freezing cold. You're getting out. You're just like, what did I just do? And him crying. And I said, honey, it's not. And he goes, it's not for us. It's for the athletes. And again, it's that moment that I got to have with my kid to plant a seed, the seeds of hope that our president talks about right now.
Yeah.
I have all these little moments of service. We made 1,000 sandwiches at one of our meetings, and Nolan was there making those sandwiches with us. And why, Mom? Why are we making these sandwiches? Well, not everybody has, a beautiful gourmet meal like I make for you every day, right? But that's a really hard concept.
Yeah.
For kids to understand,
Yeah.
I mean, that's come up at our kitchen table too, for sure. But it's you can tell the eyes start to glaze over a little bit, but there's some component of it that sticks. Like they get it, but then they're like, oh yeah, well I've got food, so I'm gonna eat.
Well, and it goes back to the modeling of the behavior. Yeah. So you just continue to model the behavior for them, and they'll put it together eventually. Have some patience and faith with them.
Context will come into play at some point or another. So,
I have a really random question for you.
Yeah.
So, do you have an Alexa in your house?
No.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I'm like,
no.
I feel like
if you really want my answer to this, I'm a little bitter that I'll never have grandchildren named after me because of this.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah.
It might change names.
Yeah.
You never know.
Who knows?
It might not even be a
product.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It could certainly,
By your grandkids?
We were talking off air before you guys got here. I was telling you about how things have changed with radio to podcasting.
Yeah.
And in very short time, I thought, I think you might have a chance.
Yes. Yeah. Alexa will be gone at some point. Most definitely. But yeah.
There's my tangent for
very tangential.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be gone someday, right? So, these are, those seeds that I'm planting along the way. And so I said, we were talking about the sandwiches, I said, suddenly birthdays come up. And I said, well, some kids don't have birthdays. Well, that's something your kids can understand. And so my kids wrote a grant to our Minnetonka Rotary Foundation, and they got $1,000. And they went out and they bought all the supplies they could to make bags for kids to have birthdays. And they set it up so our club came and put them together. And again, there's these little moments of service that are so important. I was going to the Zone in Minneapolis earlier this year, and I was supposed to pick up the posters for the district governor. But I didn't realize that FedEx closed at 7. I thought it closed at 8. So I pulled up, and I was just in complete panic. And I'm like, what am I going to do? And I walked up to the door, and I just stood there. And I went back to my car, and the lady next to me, I don't know why this woman was parked at FedEx, unless she was like me and needed her stuff. And she said, what's wrong? I said, I can't get my stuff, and I needed it. And she goes, well, go knock on the door. I was like, nope, they closed. I need to be respectful. And she's like, you go up there, and you knock on that door. And I was like, okay. So I went and knocked on the door, and a lady waved me off, and this woman got out of her car, went over there, knocked on the door, and said, come here, come here. And she goes, this woman needs her stuff. And I said, I'm so sorry. I thought you closed at 7. I can't get here in time. You're not open early enough for me to come back. And she's like, I just can't. And I said, okay, thank you. And the lady next to me said, no, she needs her stuff. She's got her kids in the car. She needs her stuff. And I'm like, it is paid for. Could you just hand it to me? And the FedEx lady said, okay, hold on 1 second. And she went back and she got me this stuff. And I don't know why, but I had a stack of $5 Starbucks gift cards in my car. And I gave one to those ladies, and I said, you guys did not have to do that for me. And they said, well, you didn't have to do this. And I was just like, no, you went service above self.
Yeah.
And
above and beyond.
Yeah. So just those little moments I look for instead of the real and big projects.
I'm just going to say you're my favorite guest so far because I'm loving your stories. They're
Wow,
so
that's some heavy praise too. We've had some good ones.
It's been good. The stories have been good.
I do love. So it's interesting. We've had both grand project stuff, and now talking about those little moments of service.
Build and build and build.
Love it. Take us out of here.
As a reminder, you are listening to Searching for Service. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
Thanks for listening.
For decades, eradicating polio worldwide has been Rotary's cornerstone cause. We are incredibly close to ridding the globe of this virus, but we need everyone's help to get us to the goal. World Polio Day is October 24th. Please consider making a new donation to Polio Plus or increasing your already generous giving. Go to endpolio.org to be a part of this historical eradication of polio. You will help get vaccinations to the most remote parts of our world and help fulfill a promise we made to end polio now. 2 drops and it stops.
Rotary is a place for all community-minded people who want to serve their areas with the support of an international organization. Join Rotary to find service. Join Rotary to find inclusion. Join Rotary to find leadership. Join Rotary to find fun. Join Rotary to find friendship. Join Rotary to find a better version of the world. Find a Rotary Club near you at Rotary.org and click on Club Finder. There is a club out there for everyone. Find your fit with Rotary. Rotary.org. Are you ready to make a difference in your community? Rotary is a great place to get involved in your community and meet passionate groups of people, as well as individuals dedicated to service and fellowship. At Rotary, we believe in the power of teamwork to bring positive change. As a member, you will have the opportunity to participate in exciting projects that address local and global challenges. From supporting educational initiatives to environmental conservation, we tackle it all. Joining a Rotary Club means becoming part of a diverse family of individuals who share a passion for giving back and having fun while making positive impact. With projects and events that enrich your community, there's something for everyone, from local initiatives to international collaborations. It doesn't matter what culture or country you come from. What matters is that you want to belong to a group that strengthens communities and creates lasting change. There's a place for everyone at Rotary, regardless of age or background. Learn more by searching for a Rotary Club in your community and visiting. Together, let's make a difference. Rotary, people of action.
His Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build good? Will it better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Join Rotary to serve your community and the world with honesty, fairness, and goodwill. Our 4-way test guides our actions every day. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? These values underpin our commitment to making a positive impact on the world. Learn more about your local Rotary Club and stop searching and start serving.
And the song you're hearing right now was performed by the Rotary Club of Saskatoon, Natuna in Canada.
When we pay it forward, it will be returned.
Hello and welcome back to Searching for Service, brought to you by Rotary District 5950 and 5960. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk.
As a reminder, you can find us on your favorite podcast platforms and
YouTube.
And you can search for us by inputting Searching for Service.
It's not the double search. That's good.
so fun. We have so much fun.
The YouTube thing is relatively new, so it's like, wait, YouTube.
We're
Past
wrapping our
episodes
heads
on both.
around it. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's great.
We video all this stuff so you guys can, hello.
Yeah.
And hello.
See all of our goofy facial expressions around the table, too.
Us crying.
And crying, yes.
So before we get into it, it is really funny. I did watch part of an episode, and it's like, you do become very self-conscious of how much you move and how much you, like, lick your lips or, like, get ready or I'm staring at you.
Aware, yes.
Yeah,
And no, most people are just going to listen and minimize.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this all up. So we have our guest, Alexa Rundquist, if you are listening for the first time. We're in our last segment here. And so she is the executive director for District 5950 and also a fellow Rotarian with the Minnetonka Rotary, too.
Yeah. And so for this last segment, we typically like to talk about the future, what your hopes, dreams, and all that good jazz are. So we can get into that. But, do you have a story for us that can really encapsulate what you see for the future of your role or Rotary?
Mm-hmm. I've thought about this long and hard, and
Thought I was going to get you there.
No, for my role, it is really difficult because each of our district governors brings their own, and they're very respectful of the current district governor to not, share. They're just really promoting each of them. And then we also have to listen to our Rotary International director. District 5950 is just, we're just going to just really delve into listening and really looking at new ways of listening and expanding coming out of COVID, because we had to listen via minimized screens of Zoom for so long, right?
Yes.
And so we just want to go out there and be with the people and listen to the people and hear how they want. That's how Preschool for Success came about, is we listened and they wanted a bigger, impactful service project. And so we're just going to keep listening to that. And then
I can't believe the traction that's received
incredible.
this year.
Yeah.
It's been really, really incredible because we were part of it in the very beginning, and all of a sudden we're like, holy cow.
And now it's spreading like wildfire in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So it's really great.
Gayla is one of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. She has a lot
great.
of, she spoke from the heart.
Yeah.
It's so obvious. And so she had a lot of takeaways in that. So,
Yeah.
Very cool.
I mean, I don't choose Rotary, or I choose Rotary every week, and I don't foresee myself stopping choosing Rotary. Sometimes with 4 kids, 3, Audrey, my 5-year-old, is going into kindergarten. Does that give me more time or less time now that she's in school?
Who knows?
Taking on, but again, I still see it as a very important piece of my life and such a positive for everyone. And my husband's all in too, so it's not even like if I quit that I could escape it because I would just...
Yeah.
Is he in the same club as you?
He is, yeah. And funny thing is, lots of people have said, how do you do that? Well, I'll be really honest.
We do it.
Yeah. It's just, they're our friends. We go in. Most of the time we don't sit by each other.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
We
see
do
her
the
enough.
same thing.
Exactly. We're just, we're both getting different things out of it and approaching it in different ways. And it's just a great commonality for us.
Yeah.
Do you
Good
ever see
talking
yourself becoming a district governor?
I don't think so now. I've seen behind the scenes.
Or you're like, what are you talking about? Dance for me, puppets.
Yeah.
I get to pull all the strings.
Yeah.
I get the beauty of not giving it up. I
Yeah.
go on the ride with them, and they're also gracious in taking me with them.
That's cool.
And so, and I get paid with 4 kids, so I can.
Yeah. And
yeah, we like that too, right? Like,
Yeah. So I just don't think so. I want to. So, I talked about getting to know my dad, 10 years ago, 15 years ago when I came out of college. And I was just with him a couple weeks ago. And it's that moment when you realize that they're not getting any younger. Mm-hmm. And losing my mom so young and realizing how much I wish I had her now as a mom and just as an adult. I just want to take those moments. My dad joined Rotary last year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so he's a member of
awesome.
the Global Travelers Club.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So he lives in a town. I grew up in a town of about 100 people. There's not a Rotary Club within 30 miles of him, but he wanted to travel, and this was a really good way for him to do it as a widow. And he's already given tons of money to Minnetonka Rotary, so he might as well do it through his own. But I would love to continue. I'd like to do another service project with him.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'd like to, he really is interested in water, so I'd like to go do that again. I'd like to go to a Rotary International conference with him and my husband and just, experience that immersive Rotary in culture.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing I want to do. I want to host an exchange student.
Oh, wow.
I'd have tons more kids. I just don't think that my husband's on board with that. And we kind of have a small house, so
We have the two
that
boys
can be
going.
fixed.
yeah, right?
We have the 2 boys going. Hey, are we gonna have another one? I'm like, no. Maybe, I don't know.
I thought of an interesting question. I look at the show, and we've had such great support from not only 5950, but also 5960. And these are new, innovative kind of brainchildren of district governors. And, we're lucky enough to be, asked to do this job, and serve in this podcast and this show. And, it's our honor. Is how do we continue to support and, promote new and innovative projects that are like this? Because this is what speaks to the new Rotarians. This is what, as we continue to think about how do we, get new members and re-engage our members after COVID, because everybody was behind a screen. How do we just continue to support these kind of endeavors? Because, I was super inspired by this project. I mean, obviously Kelly and Chad literally jumping in, both feet, all in, new member of Rotary, and what do I need to do? And then here we are. So how does the district and how in your role can you continue to support those type of projects?
I think a really big thing like I spoke about is listening, right? And listening to each idea. And so it can be difficult when we train because we're kind of pushing the ideas out. And so we're working hard on how do we listen during these events that we're hosting? How do we, make new members not be statistics, right?
Yeah.
Not, welcome, Kelly, you're a young female. Well, thank you. Really listening to the members. But I think it goes back to all those little stories I told. And I was at the district training a few months ago, back in October, and my club was selling socks there. And I observed the most incredible thing happening. Sam was supposed to sell socks, but Sam's dad died the day before. And everyone else had canceled on me. And so I emailed a couple people. I said, you guys, we're just not going to do it. Sam's not going to be there. I would never ask Sam to be there. And so that morning, I'm at the event, and Sam walks in. And I said, Sam, what are you doing here? Yeah. And he said, well, I told you I'd be here. I would never let that ball drop for you. You don't need to be here. He's like, I'm right where I need to be today. You needed me. And then all of a sudden, Bob walks in. I said, Bob, what are you doing here? You got tea time. He goes, Sam couldn't be here. I'm here. I said, but Sam's here. He goes, I'll go help him. And in walked Mac. I said, Mac, what are you doing here? You're training at noon. And he said, well, Sam couldn't be here. I got to be here for you. And those three men sat in that friendship hall, and the word friendship hall took on a different meaning that day. They didn't go to any of the training. They were there for each other. And again, it's making people feel loved. And Stephanie Urchek talked about it, belonging. And then listening to their ideas because they feel valued. And I that's what I try to do at the district, and I think that's how we can continue to support the ideas. Is we just really got to get to know our members as people first.
Sure. Well, it's good.
Great advice. Even as a club member, you know, it goes back the other way as well. I think.
Yeah.
You know, get to know everybody's. It's not a number. It's not fulfilling. You know, this box or that box, or it's a community. Not like, you know, some people look at it as networking, and I don't think that's not what Rotary. It is a network, but it's a community much more.
You get the networking after you build the community.
Yep.
Exactly. Because, you know, again, tying back to North Dakota, I came here, and I don't know if you guys are originally from Minnesota, but being a transfer to Minneapolis is a very difficult thing.
It is.
It is.
It is a very difficult thing. And so these guys became my community. And so when my car broke down, I needed someplace to go. And the first place I went was to a Rotarian.
Yeah.
You know, and so, I'd never played down that piece, but I also had to get to know that person too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And really trust them and believe in them.
I love it. The whole kind of theme of today's show has been, you know, the little things that really make
Stack up.
Rotary special, and you know that community, that inward community component versus the service outward, because you can serve both in your club and outside of the club. So I think that's been really fascinating. It's been awesome to hear about the role. I didn't even,
you guys so much.
Yeah.
truthfully, like, this is how naive sometimes I am about everything. Is like, I didn't even know it existed.
Most people don't, and that's okay.
But I'm glad you do exist, and I'm glad that you were on the show.
Thanks for
Alexa,
joining us.
thank you so much for being our guest. I'm Kelly Kirk.
I'm Chad Larson.
And I'm Joe Kirk,
It's time to stop searching.
and start serving.